December 14, 1971, Ad hoc Planning Group for Vinyl Chloride Research.
To counter the damaging information from the European animal studies, the industry commissioned a confidential study of its own workers that it planned to use in its defense.
The need to be able to assure the employees of the industry that management was concerned for and diligent in seeking the information necessary to protect their health. The need to develop data useful in defense of the industry against invalid claims for injury for alleged occupational or community exposure.
They're telling the scientists this is what we want. They're giving them the money to do the research, and the scientists know that in the end, they've got to come up with something that is approximate to what their funders are interested in.
In other words, they were saying to the epidemiologists, the researchers, the scientists, here's the end we want, produce the science to get us there.
That's right. When research is conducted in that way, then where you're trying to protect the industry rather than give the industry the information it needs to protect the workforce and the public, the process of science is absolutely corrupted.
Good science is to design a study that will determine whether or not there is an effect from the exposure to the chemical. And you should design that study with the greatest amount of power, the greatest amount of ability to detect whether or not there is an effect. Therefore, you should study those workers that are most directly exposed and eliminate workers that don't have exposure. That was not done.
Go to the pool of affected workers, not the pool of workers who might be on the margin of the process.
Absolutely. They didn't do that. They included workers in their study that were probably not ever exposed to vinyl chloride.
So if you bring in secretaries and managers or people out driving trucks, you're diluting
Absolutely.
the impact of your study.
Absolutely. And you can't get a true result when you do something like that.
The researchers were restricted to studying employment records and death certificates. They did not interview the workers themselves.
They were, from their perspective, a terrible bind. They wanted the information to know if the workers had suffered any injury as a result of exposure to vinyl chloride. But they didn't want to tell the workers that they might have been exposed to vinyl chloride and that there was a danger in that exposure. So they didn't want to even alert the workers in any form through these surveys that they might have had a problem that they should investigate themselves, that they should consult with their doctors about, that they should be worried about.
The confidential documents reveal other efforts that affected the outcome.
October 15, 1973, Vinyl Chloride Epidemiological Study, Progress Report. Several companies have indicated that they do not wish their terminated employees to be contacted directly.
If you have workers that have left employment, they may have left because they were sick. They may have left because they had had some reason to leave, and excluding them from the study gives you a very biased result.
The companies also worried that if researchers contacted the families of workers who had died, someone might get suspicious.
This becomes even more complicated when one seeks information from relatives of past employees who have subsequently died. In other words, we need the information, but at what risk?
This is how I think we as historians are looking at it. If you keep knowledge secret, if you keep the causes secret, if you keep the information secret for long enough, workers will die of other things, they'll vanish from the workforce, they'll go on to other places, they'll retire and die of diseases that may or may not be directly linked to the experience in the workplace.
How are lay people like me, citizens, supposed to decide what is good and what is bad science?
That's hard. It's real hard. Science is easy to manipulate.
In the end, the industry got a report that said what it wanted.
Lake Charles, Louisiana, PPG Vista. Study after study has confirmed there is no evidence that vinyl affects human health, not for workers in the industry, not for people living near vinyl-related manufacturing facilities, not for those who use the hundreds of vinyl consumer and industrial products.